This is the ultimate risk management guide featuring psychology. Look at the screenshot below. How do you concur greed? I was up 14,000 on gold this past trade and turned my nose up at it, going for $30,000. Didn't even take partial. Ended up with 2.25K, then got cocky and damn near blew my account. This was a comment I got when I was doing a live trading session in the lab, and this particular individual knows I'm not calling him out. He just knows that his story is what a lot of people are going through and it can help them, because we went over this in the lab, but I felt like it was necessary to go on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get right into it and use his story as a case study. There is no excuse to go from being up $14,000 to almost blowing your account in the same trade. No excuse at all. You could have taken, like you said, partials. You could have gotten out at 5,000. You could have gotten out at 4,000. Something. There's no excuse to go from 14,000 all the way to zero. However, it happens. It actually does. It definitely happens. I'm not saying I ever went from 14K to zero, but I know what it's like to, in my earlier days, be up $3,000 and then get carried away doing something, and then I look back at my charts and I'm only up 1,000, and that 1,000 would still be amazing, but now my mindset is I was just up $3,000. Like, I need to wait for a price to go back to that moment. So if it just gets back to 2,500, I'll take that. And then it gets to $400, and then all of a sudden you're like, if it just gets to $1,000, I'll take that. And then all of a sudden you lose money. And so I understand, we've all been there. Haven't been there that high per se, because I know to take money off the table, but it happens. But here's the reality. Look at his follow-up comment. I never made $14,000 in 3 days in my life. I started thinking about all of my bills and whatnot and $30,000 and was telling myself 14K is not enough. Now, he knows, however, looking back at his own history in his life, that $14,000 is more than enough, by far, in any stretch of the imagination, especially if it's in 3 days. That is basically 5K a day, short 1,000, obviously that would be 15,000, short 1,000, basically 4.9, 4.8K a day, and that's not enough. And I understand why that's not enough to some people, but that is the sole reason why this is you. You equals not making money in the market, because going back to it, you're looking at every single thing, but I'm gonna get deeper into that because I'm here to help at the end of the day. The first thing you have to do is remove your personal feelings away from everything. Everything. Remove all your ego, your pride, your personal feelings on what you got going on in your life, because you got bills. The market doesn't give a F. You're in debt. The market doesn't give a F. The market ain't get you in that debt. The market ain't put you into college. The market ain't make you take that loan out. The market ain't make you, rent that house that is way more than your means. The market ain't make you move out too early. The market ain't make you, get that Mercedes when you should have got that Nissan. The market ain't make you do none of that. So the market does not care about what you got going on. The market can only provide you opportunities, and it's up to you to use your judgment in that scenario and be like, okay, I have this opportunity. This may help in this regard. What am I going to do with it? The reason that's important is because that is the sole reason why you have greed, your personal feelings and ego, your history, what you think your future should be. That's the only reason. The only reason is your personal feelings and your ego. That's where greed comes from. Where does greed come from? Oh, why is 14,000 not enough? Why? Are your bills too high, more than 14,000? Okay, personal feelings, right? What is 30K gonna do for you, right? Because at the end of the day, you can still get to that 30K. He wasn't looking at the larger picture. And again, like I said, he knows I'm not going at him. I'm using his story as a case study because he's gonna be a great trader. The fact that you made 14,000 in 3 days, he is one person I am not worried about because he made 14K in 3 days. That's not normal. So he's on a good track. He just has to control certain things about his psychology and risk management. But these all fall into that sole reason of personal feelings. You hate your job and you desperately want an out. That is a reason why you're up 14K and you decide not to take that money because you want 30K. You hate your job and you desperately want an out. You know this market has uncapped potential, so you're risking a lot uncapped potential. So why are you risking a lot? Because you want that house, because you may see Swaggy C, because you may see all these other people and other traders, what they got going on in their life, and you're trying to skip the process. And the process is you have to go through these, go through the long haul, look at the long game of every single situation. What are you risking so much for? You're only in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. You have time. But now that we got that out the way, trading, let's get into that, because again, all that falls into risk management and psychology. But in my opinion, they're 1A and 1B. One is not necessarily more important than the other because they kind of factor in at the same time, but they're both definitely more important than the technicals. But here's what you need to realize. You can and will live to trade another day. And that is what people don't understand. You will live to trade another day. Trading does not hurt when you realize I shouldn't risk more than I'm comfortable with, number one. Number two, I fully understand that I can trade again tomorrow. Number three, I don't need a mother effing Lambo. A Nissan is perfectly fine. That goes for a lot of people out there. I see people out there who have never made more than $3,000 in the market ever, posting inspo pictures of Lamborghinis, which is fine. But Eric Thomas had a video that he did, I believe at his 120 series conference that I was at, and I loved it so much. You know, he was talking about, you know, competition and outworking your competitors, and he was like, you ain't about to beat me if you're doing this for a Lamborghini. You ain't about to beat me if you're doing this for a Rolls Royce. You ain't about to beat me if you're doing this for iced out chains. You're not about to beat me. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my girl. I'm doing this for my wife. I may even though I like to keep this on the webinar, I may even incorporate that in this video just because it was such a monumental moment. You are not about to beat me if you're doing this for a Lambo. Lambos are cool when you get there. But for me, why did I get here? I did it for my family, myself. And then once I was there and I had excess money, oh, the Rolex came with it. Oh, the orange Tesla came with it. But I didn't do it for that. I didn't even really like Teslas before I even got a Tesla. Like, that's the reality. 4, it could take me 6 years or 1 year to master this. Regardless, I'm here. And number 5, athletes move on after every single play. That's probably the most important thing of this whole webinar. So we'll get into all of those one by one. But if you constantly held the standard with yourself that no matter what, I will always trade a 1 to blank risk to reward ratio, and that number is higher than 2, the odds are in your favor. Because if you're trading a 1 to blank, and that blank is, like I said, higher than 2, it's 3, it's 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, the odds are in your favor. And I'm gonna dive deep into every single example that I can give you. Let's say you have a $10,000 account. If you lose a trade, you lose $400. If you win, you make $400. This is a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. You win 400, you lose 400. That's terrible. You don't want a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio because that means you have to be right almost every time to make a decent profit. Out of 10 trades, if you win 5 of them and you lose the other 5, you broke even, dead zero, right? Like 5 times 5 and 400 is the profit each time, $2,000, but then you lose 2,000, it's zero. So 1-to-1, we don't want to aim for that. This is what you should be aiming for. And I have, red on the 1-to-1 a little bit, the 1-to-2, and then the bottom half of 1-to-2 all the way to 1-to-3 and 4 and below are all green. And the reason I got that 1-to-2 that's like half is because there are some times where I will take a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio because I got in too late, but I know for a fact, in my opinion, obviously nothing is a factual guaranteed statement in this market, but I know for a fact this is going to happen. I'm going to, still get in that trade. But for the most part, 1-to-3 and 1-to-4 is your good spot. So let's look to the right? You lose 400, you win 400. That's 1-to-1. Lose 400, you win 800, 1-to-2. Lose 400, you win 1,200, 1-to-3. Like you obviously times 3 what you would lose. 4, lose 400, win 1,600. That is 1-to-4. Those are all amazing, those bottom ones. And most people know this, but don't follow through because it's easier said and looked at on the screen than actually going to the market and being like, oh, I think this is going down. Oh, I may win this trade. Oh, it's a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Most people won't skip that. Out of 10 trades, if you had a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio and you lost 5 trades, you would lose $2,000. Now, you still got 5 more trades. If you had that same 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio and you won the rest of the 5 trades, you would have made $8,000. That's the power of the 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio with an overall profit of $6,000. If you only took trades that had a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio or even 1-to-3, you could lose more than half your trades and will still be considered a good trader and considered a trader with the profit at the end of the month because your wins outweigh your losses. You can lose 3 times in a row and that one winner will outweigh those 3, which is where that risk management comes into play so that those other 3 or 4 losses may not affect you. You know what I mean? Out of 10 trades, let's do this again. If you had a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio and you lost 7 trades, you would have lost $2,800, right? You know, if every trade you lose is $400, 400 times 7, you would have lost $2,800. If you had that same 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio and you won 3 trades, just 3 trades out of 10, you would have made $4,800 for a profit of $2,000. You won 30% of your trades and you still made a profit. Meaning, like I just said, you can have a 30% win rate and still be profitable. Hedge funds and private investors will still want to work with you. Why? Because you are disciplined enough to take, only take a higher risk to reward ratio and still turn a profit. Even with losing 7 out of 10 trades, people get caught up with, I lost 7 out of 10 trades and yada, 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 and I'm not good enough. No, it's the risk to reward and the risk management that's not good enough. Because I know somebody, and it used to be me way in the past, who'd only win 3 out of 10 trades, but those 3 trades were masterful. They were large, and it kept me with a good profit. Which is why win rates don't move me. Someone with the 30% win rate, but only takes 1-to-4 trades is more successful than someone with a 70% win rate, but only takes 1-to-1 risk to reward trades. You are trading as if you're going to win every trade, and that shouldn't be the case. So having a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio is a surefire, guaranteed way to put you in a pressurized situation because you have to win. And that makes your trades worse by default because your emotions are so locked in on, I gotta win, I gotta win, I gotta win, I gotta win more trades than I lose. Why? You don't have to win more trades than you lose. You just gotta make sure your wins outweigh your losses. That's 2 different things. 2 different things. People may say, finding a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio is not that easy. Sure it is. You're just not watching the charts enough. Look at this. If you come over here, this right here shows 1 to 4.09 risk to reward ratio. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. A trade that I called out a whole long time ago, right? This was in early August-ish, late July. Look at this. This is a clear-cut risk to reward ratio. You got in here, broke through this support level, came through, retested the moving averages, pulled all the way down, and my obviously TP would have been 1900. It even got lower than 1900, which is my psychological level, my key area. It is relatively easy to find 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio. The issue is you guys are trying to trade every single day, right? That's the issue. You guys think you got to trade every single day, and you may not find a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio every single day, right? This is why I'm a swing trader. Lesson here, if you had a higher risk to reward ratio and had a moderate lot size, you continuing to lose trades wouldn't matter. A moderate lot size where you just slowly increase it with time, not majorly, but like you did 0.5s, like 0.5s, 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 and then like after like 4 wins or 4 wins that outweigh the losses, right? 0.6, 0.7, and start to slow, that's cool. And if you kept that higher risk to reward ratio, your account can compound, right? People know this, but don't care at all. They take any trade that looks good and don't stay consistent with their trading plan. I made this video maybe 3.5, 4 years ago. Not this exact video, but a video similar. And people just don't care. They just trade whatever looks good, right? Even it could be a pair they never traded before a day in their life. Don't know anything about the fundamentals. Don't know anything about how it moves. And they'll just trade it because it looks good and it's not in accordance with their trading plan. Going back to his comments, this is some of the factors that factored in because he'll probably tell you flat out, like he said right here, I started thinking about all my bills. Like I said in the beginning, market got nothing to do with that. And if you get rid of that personal, ego and greed and focus on what you want to focus on, which is how do I get better in this market, this scenario shouldn't happen to you. Blowing accounts is normal in your early days. Even in year 2, it can still be normal. Once you get past that phase and you're making $10,000, $14,000, $20,000, you should be at a point to be like, I have enough. There's a book called The Psychology of Money. I don't know if it's chapter 3, 4, or 5. It was one of the early chapters that changed my whole perception on money and grinding. This is why I started spending a lot more time with my family. There was a party and a guy walked in late because he was like not necessarily trading per se, but he did some kind of investment. And he walked into a party and everybody in the party was rich. And he walked up to this guy who was dancing with his wife or whatever. And he was like, yo, why weren't you at the office? Like, I just made, an extra, $100 million. Like, yada, yada, yada. Like, you could have did the same thing with me. And he said, yeah, but I have something you don't have. And the guy said, what? He said, enough. I have enough. I'm already rich. I have a good life. I'm good, right? I have enough. And that changed my perception on money a lot. And when it comes to this guy, $14,000, at that point, that's enough. Because if your bills are 30K or 33K, 14K is enough right now. It's enough right now because eventually you can stack up. This is a 1 to 12 risk to reward ratio. If it gets all the way down here, right? It's around 1 to 6-ish around here. 1 to 12, right? This is gold, right? Bounced off the trend line, broke through this other counter trend line, broke through, cleared 1925, retested 1925, potentially can come back down to fall over, 1 to 12. Originally it was 1 to 3, right? But that you can still find scenarios where your risk management is intact. Go back to this. So that's the first point. Only take trades with a minimum of 1 to 2-ish, but I prefer 1 to 3 and up. And slide 18, like I said, back to what I said, I fully understand that I can trade again tomorrow. That's point number 2. You're up $14,000. Live to trade another day. The market is not going nowhere. People trade as if the market is going somewhere, as if the market cares about their responsibilities. The market is not going anywhere at all. Period. End of story. It's here. So take your time, right? 14K today is 8K tomorrow, is negative 3K the next day. You lost $3,000. It's 11K the next week. There's your 30,000 right there. You close that $14,000 profit. It gave you your 150 pips. It gives you so much confidence to trade again and again and again. And then you have like maybe a little slight loss, but it gives you that confidence to push forward. Now you just lost a whole bunch of confidence when you were just up 14K. And now your next trade, you're gonna be up $1,000 and you're gonna close instantly when that trade would have gave you 7,000 or 8,000. So it messes with your psyche a little bit when you don't close when you're supposed to. How do you know when to close? The market will tell you. The market will give you a whole bunch of patterns and clues. Hey, structure's kind of reversing. Hey, we already dropped a little bit. We need some type of relief. We need a little bit of a rally, bounce up the market a little bit. You'll know as time goes on. You don't need the Lambo. You don't need the 100K followers. You don't need to pay off your debt right now, even if it hurts your credit. So what? Take your time. And I'm dead serious. Like I said, like when I had my debt before I came up, it was dinging my credit. And I'm not recommending that. But at the end of the day, I didn't have any money. What are they gonna do? Arrest me? They're not gonna arrest you. Like my credit got hurt. My credit got effed up, right? But now I went from a 540 or 530 to a 780, 800 credit score. You can build your credit score up back over time. But right now, losing in the market, that's causing more stress and more stress on you. Again, I'm not recommending you just like let your credit get worse. I'm just saying, like, that's what I did. That's all I can recommend, right? Like I tried to pay my debt off. I made sure I did so every month. But in the event that I couldn't, I wasn't stressing and dying over it. I'm like, hey, I don't have the money. It is what it is. It is what it is. So all I can do is say what I did, because like I said, you can go back and fix your mistakes. But in the market, once you make that mistake, it's solidified. You got to focus on the next trade. You know what I mean? People are understanding when you call and talk to them, like deferring and things of that nature. But keep this in your mind. Point number 3. It can take me 6 years or 1 year to master this. Regardless, I'm here. Actually, this is point number 4. I did point number 3 already. It could take me 6 years, 1 year, and people look at that and quit. That's where that 90 to 95% of losers come from, right? Where it's, oh, I'm already 1 year in and I'm still losing. I give up. 6 years or 1 year. It took Michael from Market Wizards 8 years. Then he made 88 million in 9 years. It's that simple. Took me 4. Took Q2. Like it depends on who it is. Depends on your current situation. If you're a young kid or if you're older with responsibilities and a wife and kids, it depends on that. You can still make it, but it really depends on what your current situation, your psychology is. Now, prime example, in the lab, my last 8 trades, I won 7 of them, 7 out of the last 8 trades. Boom. Crazy, right? Crazy number, right? A few people messaged me frantically because they took trades 4, 5, and 6, and they were all successful. But trade number 7, USDJPY, was not. And guess what? This is the trade, right? I believe price was gonna head up. It was in this consolidation area for a very, very long time. It cleared the high, came through, retested, had a new trend line, had a key level right here that I did not wanna break through, had a wick right here. It showed all the signs of bullish momentum. And I still think it's bullish long term. I know it's bullish long term, but I got in at the wrong time. Got in right here. I was like, you know what? I can take it. I do believe it's gonna come down and draw down to this trend line, retouch it, but it's gonna swoop all the way back up. It just cleared through, stopped us out. It happens. But guess what? Since originally I went 6 for 6 and he made good money, or shouldn't be he, should be they. They made good money with my analysis of my trades, a few of them. They risked their entire account on my USD JPY trade and blew it. blew their entire account. They were slowly building their account with 6 for 6 of trades. On number 7, they're like, yo, Swaggy hasn't lost a trade yet. I'm just gonna put a standard lot size. And guess what? They blew their account. Who told you to add a higher lot size and not by 0.01 or 0.04? They went from a 0.10 to a 0.60. 0.10 means if the market goes 10 pips, you got $10. 0.60 means $60. So prime example, my stop losses are usually 40, 50, 60 pips because I aim for 180, 200, 230 take profits. 60 times 60, 60 pips. 60 pips times the 0.60. That is a lot of money. 3.6K you would have lost essentially, right? Or $360, sorry, I'm bugging them. Very hot in here. $360 you would have lost in that scenario, and that would have blown your account, especially if you're going it by 0.10, right? $10, 20, 30, 40, won that trade. 10, 20, 30, 40, won that trade. 10, 20, 30, 40, won that trade. And then one trade, you just upped the lot size time like to a 0.60 and blew the account, lost $360. Nobody told you to do that. Why? Give me one reason to risk your entire account. Nothing is guaranteed in this market. Nothing. The only thing that's the reason for it is this right here, greed. That is it. You gotta understand one thing. You will lose 100%, no matter what. There's nothing you can do to say, oh, I'm going to win this trade, guarantee. This is why you said a take profit and a stop loss, because the market can do one or the other. It's never always gonna go directly in your favor. Period, end of story. The best traders in the world still lose. This book, Trading in Zone, basically changed my entire life. This is a book you guys all need to read, period, end of story. Because he mentioned something that changed my entire life regarding athletes. They move on, period. They do not stay back and worry about what happened last time. They move on. Kobe, after a turnover, missed shot, bad IQ play, what happens? He moves on to the next play. Lose a game, next game. That's because he's not risking everything. He's figuring out how to preserve his body while winning the game. He talked about it in an interview. I think it was with Patrick Bet-David on Valuetainment, where he said, there's ways to get rest while still playing, right? So like one game I may be going crazy, uphill, downhill, things of that nature, attacking the rim. And then the next game, if I'm a little bit exhausted, my back is to the basket. I'm just posting people up, turn around, fade away over the left shoulder. Simple as that. There's ways to find rest, preserve your body while still winning the game. Yet you guys can't even figure out how to preserve your own account, right? This is successful athletes. This is successful traders. I just went over this with Kobe and other, NBA athletes. Traders, after a bad trade, look at it, next trade. After missing a trade that you accurately called but didn't get in, next trade. You need to figure out how to preserve your account while still winning the game, because losses will happen. Like I said, no NBA team ever went 82-0. No MLB team ever went 162-0. It's difficult, because losses will happen. You're supposed to learn from them and grow, not blow up. These athletes aren't, maybe John Morant, but these athletes aren't trying to dunk on everybody every single play. Because why? Because you risk getting injured. You risk falling on your legs, tearing your Achilles, breaking your leg, things of that nature. So sometimes you gotta dunk on somebody and prove a point. Sometimes you gotta just lay it up smoothly, finesse it. Sometimes you gotta shoot a three. Sometimes you gotta pump fake, draw the defender in, jump into his body and go to the free throw line. Be smart. You got to be smart, not just be reckless. I will say I understand we have more pressure than athletes. We don't get paid for showing up. I understand that, right? Athletes can have the worst game, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. They'll still get paid millions of dollars no matter what. I understand that. So we have a lot of pressure. Which is why psychology and risk management are the two hardest things to master in trading, not technicals. You can learn technicals in about a month and a half. Psychology and risk management, that is going to take you years to master. You'll get better every year, but it'll take years. Self-mastery is the key. Personal development is huge. Read a bunch of personal development books and self-mastery books on who you are, how you can be better, how you can delay gratification, how you don't need the Lambo right now, how you don't need the mansion right now. You don't need, $100 million right now. You don't even need $1 million right now. 100K is perfectly fine right now. The average millionaire is like, 39 or 42, even 43? It's later on in life. And here you are at 27, 32, mad at yourself saying your life is over. Your life is just starting. I am an anomaly. I gave up my entire college life, the last decade, to just studying. Some people didn't do that. Some people party. Some people went to, frat parties and did all this other stuff. Some people just traveled the world when they were kids, studied abroad. I didn't do none of that. I gave it all up. I don't have the memories that everybody has when it comes to their friends and groups. I don't have that. I have a empire now, but I'm an anomaly. I don't expect everybody to be that way. So understand self-mastery, separate your wants from your needs right now, and that'll directly translate into the market. So we're almost done here, but people may ask, Swaggy, how do I have a great psychology while trading? Well, I already explained the risk management side of things and a good amount of psychology. You need to have a main income. That is my final point. Drop your pride and your ego and have a main income. Maybe you can find a better job, right? Like I didn't drop out of college and go to JCPenney or get a standard 9-to-5 job. I found babysitting. Like I said, I printed flyers saying I could babysit your kid and teach them basketball and do their homework with them. Put it in went to the richest city in all of America and put it in everybody's mailbox. And then until somebody called me, right? Like, because when babysitting, I can do something fun while still looking at the market. You can find a better job, but you need a main income because while you're learning and trading and going through the ups and downs, you have something consistent. Increase your income. Like the next slide is, you may get to a point where you may make $1 million a year trading or even 100K. Great. But you won't ever get there by rushing the process and not having something stable to get you by. Back to this slide, increasing your income. Because at the end of the day, you are gonna lose in trading, right? But if you have that main income, you're good. Like I said, eventually you may make the 1 million, 100K and feel like you don't need a job no more. That is fine. Some people do the idiotic thing, which is like, oh, I'm gonna quit my job right now and just trade alone. That's idiotic. Don't do that at all. That will not work in any capacity. Why? Because it's gonna put so much pressure on you. I know people who saved up for 2 years straight and they had 2 years worth of bills, lived below their means, but saved up for 2 straight years. And then they decided to quit their job and just trade. Because now you have a 2-year gap that no matter how many trades you lose, you got 2 years to figure it out. That's different than, oh, I only got a month of income, now I'm gonna quit my job and focus on trading. Don't do that. Do you guys want to bad enough? Do you guys want to mow lawns at 26 years old? Do you guys want to, there's so many different ways to finally make money. Watch Gary Vee, go to garage selling, drop ship, do things that are not the conventional way. Learn a new skill, learn videography. Like I've been saying this for a long, long time. Even in my 2020 videos, like you guys can learn videography and then come work for me in 3 or 4 years and you guys just brush it off, right? Like when Austin worked for me, he only was a videographer for 1.5 years. That's it, 1.5 years, and he put himself out there, and he ended up being great. Kind of, how long were you recording before you came to work for me?
Probably like 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years. So again, you guys can watch this video that I did, because I mentioned this in the past, in 2020. It's 2023 now. 3 or 4 years, and then do you want it bad enough? You guys don't want to delay gratification. Connor just said he was doing this for 3 or 4 years before he came to me. Austin, 1.5 years. You guys don't want it bad enough. There's so many different ways to find a way to make money and put that into your trading account. You guys don't want it bad enough. So here's the plan, right? Here's the plan, the overall plan. Back to his point, Nishan's point. Here's the list. One of the last few slides. Get rid of your personal feelings regarding debt and bills. Trust the process and don't take any shortcuts. Always trade with the 1 to 3 plus risk to reward ratio, 1 to 2 if you have to. Understand that you're young. Everything will come. You are so young. Even if you're 36, you're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Live to trade another day, right? Next play mentality. If you want a risk number, 2 to 4% is fine. 5 to 8% is aggressive. Somebody commented on my video saying, how do you, grow your account with risking only 1% per trade? I don't risk only 1%. If it's a bad trade, maybe. Everybody out there says only risk 2%. I understand that. I don't do that. I'm aggressive sometimes. Sometimes I'll risk 3 or 4. If the trade is amazing, I'll even risk 5 to 8%, even 9%. And that's not the norm. That's not necessarily what you should do, but I'm a risk taker, right? Like I know that I'm not gonna lose 10, 12 trades in a row and my winners outweigh my losers. So yeah, if I have $100,000 on my account, I may lose 6,000 in the trade, then 8,000 in the trade, but my winners will be 30,000, 40,000. So I can lose 2 or 3 and then have 2 winners and I'm golden, which goes back to that win rate percentage we talked about earlier. Lastly, realize emotions plus risk go hand in hand, no matter what. Even this isn't good enough. We don't want medium risk in life. Yes, in trading, no, yes. In trading, no, right? Like in life, medium risk makes sense. Okay, I dropped out of college, that's risky, right? Like medium risk in life, take risk, start that business, do that hobby. In trading, nah, keep the risk towards the lower, medium, but more so the lower end of the spectrum. This is not a get rich quick scheme. Have some patience. Don't listen to everybody else online saying you can get rich quick. You're not. This is not a get rich quick scheme. Have some patience. You can get rich, but it comes with time. You'll be fine. So thank you guys for watching this video. It went a lot longer than I wanted to, but I had to give some, concrete vivid details. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope this helps you in your personal journey. Come say what's up to us in the lab. We trade daily and we help aid in all aspects. www.livetradinglive.com. We're only open for a few more days, and then we are closing for the remainder of this year and the foreseeable future. When we open back up, we open back up. Like I said, we closed Q1 early this year, January, February. We open back up September. So that's basically Q1 to Q4. Q3-ish, but Q4-ish basically. So we don't know when we're open back up, but come to House at the lab. Maybe it'll be the next case study and we can all go together. I gotta do a live stream right now, so I'll holler at you guys later. Later, guys.